Hello and welcome to Kelly's Wordy Reactions. So today, I woke up and I saw that Donald Trump is missing, or some say he's missing. I personally think that we shouldn't necessarily be looking for this man to pop out every single day in the news, in press conferences, and things like what he does. But since he himself has set this precedent, he obviously can't go without being seen for a couple days without people wondering where he is and what's going on with him. Of course, people are going to think the worst, especially considering that he is very dishonest and extremely dishonest. He's been really, really dishonest with regards to his personal dealings. So, of course, people are going to think the worst as, these health concerns have come out recently. He wasn't forthcoming about them. He didn't let anybody know about his condition, and what he's telling people is his condition until the news media or the news cameras picked up on his very large ankles. And it was not until people started talking about how swollen his ankles are that he actually had his press secretary come out and give a statement on what's going on with his whatever they're calling it, chronic venous syndrome or something like that. So since he's been so dishonest about everything, of course people are going to think the worst, and so that's what we have. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to come out here and talk a little bit about what people are saying, see what y'all are thinking. Can somebody tell me if you can hear me? Because every once in a while I'll go live from my phone and nobody will hear me. So, oh, okay, Sammy, I heard that. I guess you can hear me. Anyway, let's go ahead and see what the internet has to say about where Donald Trump is. So, it says recent reports indicate that President Trump has not made any public appearances for the past 2 to 3 days. His official schedule for August 30th and 31st, 2025 showed no engagements, sparking speculation. Hello, welcome in. Hello, hello. Let's see. All right, so observers note visible. Okay, so these are just kind of like bullet point items of the last things that have been going on with President Trump. So observers note visible bruising on his hand and swelling in his ankles, symptoms aligned with his diagnosed chronic venous insufficiency, a condition that can cause discomfort but is generally manageable. The White House offered explanations such as irritation from frequent handshakes and aspirin intended to downplay concerns. So that is the diagnosis that we got from the press secretary, the chronic venous insufficiency. And like I said, that did not come out until he was seen, or the press cameras noticed his very large swollen ankles. And that's when they decided to come out and say what was going on. All right. And so what's being said on social media? So here's a couple things from Twitter. So hashtags like hashtag Trump is dead and hashtag where is Trump have surged with tens of thousands of posts speculating and, in some cases, spreading rumors of his death, even though no credible source confirms anything. So nobody is there's no official word. And like I said, me personally, I don't think that he should need to be seen every day in the press in order for people to not jump to this type of conclusion. But this is the precedent that he set. So when you go out in the news pretty much every day, and also I checked Truth Social, and on Truth, there has been a couple of posts. But I did look at someone, I did look at someone who said that those posts on Truth, because of the way that his language is, it didn't seem to fit his language. And there were a couple of indications that like maybe someone used Chat GPT to tweak those posts or whatever, to post something from him. So I do know that there have been a couple of Truth Social posts from him within this time frame, but I have heard someone kind of explain that away, that does not necessarily mean that he actually made those posts. Okay. Hello, everybody that's been coming in. Let's see, I haven't seen the comments in a minute because I was reading. So let's see. Some of y'all are funny. Yeah, I'm of the belief that, what goes around comes around. I think some things, I don't know. I mean, I guess just common decency. I think some things shouldn't have been said. And I do believe some of those things that were said about Joe Biden, like most of the things that were said about Joe Biden, personally, especially once Joe Biden got sick, I guess I get the political gymnastics of it all, some of it. But some of the things that were said about Joe Biden after he was ill, yeah, I think that you got to watch about that type of stuff. Nobody is immune from the however you want to look at it. What goes around comes around. Sowing and reaping, karma, however you choose to look at it. I've never really seen it fail. It eventually, it does usually happen, that that type of thing. So let's see. Somebody said he doesn't need to be seen, but he does need to be doing his job. Okay, well, what I think about that is he set this precedent to where people expect to see him in the news cycle every day in person in order to, and then especially with his health. He looks bad. Like, his eyes, here, especially here lately, his eyes look like they're like tiny slits that can barely open. I never, have known his eyes to look like that. He looks like, and then it's like, where is Melania? He does have a wife. He looks like he's barely, holding up here recently. And like, just things like the way he had that concealer on his hand. I'm going to get back to what people are saying on Twitter. But yeah, the way he had that concealer on his hand, when you have access to what he has access to, it's just uncalled for. It's no reason why he should look like that. It's no reason why he should have just some concealer smeared across his, if you're going to try to cover up the bruise, then hire somebody to come in and do this thing correctly, because that could have that could have very easily been covered. I mean, there are people like, let's just take Cassie for instance. I'm sure most of y'all might be familiar with Diddy and Cassie, and the fact that people are just now finding out how badly she was bruised a lot of times while she was on red carpets and being photographed, and you know going on, and we never knew it. I didn't. I really did never heard anybody talk about the fact that she looked like anything was wrong, or bruises were covered up, or anything. So he's among the wealthiest people in the world, and not only that, the president of the United States. He should have been able to. I'm not suggesting he should have been covering it up, because I think you should let the public know what's going on with you when you're the president. But if you are going to try to cover something up, at least do it well. That was done horribly over and over again. It's not like it was one time that the cameras caught that. That was a really, really poor job. And so it's just like, that I don't know, it's unacceptable to do the behavior of covering up your health condition when you're the president. But then it's like, it makes matters even worse. It's like adding insult to injury when you don't even have the decency to do a good job of covering it up. So anyway, that's that's what I have to say about that. All right, so let's look at what people are saying on Twitter. Hashtags like, da, da, da. Okay, I read that one. And so then also, the trend has drawn sharp criticism for being tasteless, pointing to the dangers of misinformation and insensitive online behavior. And I don't know why anybody would criticize anybody for being tasteless toward the most tasteless president that I've ever known of in my lifetime. Of course, there's been worse, but in my lifetime, he's definitely been the one with the least amount of civility, I guess I would say. And then, being insensitive. I mean, he's insensitive. Okay, misinformation, he spreads that all the time. So I don't know. I don't know why anybody needs to do any better by him than what he does by the people that he doesn't like. So yeah, so people are criticizing that, but truly, where is he though? Because I mean, he loves a good banter. So why hasn't he jumped out and said anything? If everything is everything, and if it's not, then why isn't anybody from the administration coming out and saying what's going on with him? So let's see what else is going on here. So Reddit and Reddit and the forums. Let's see what's being said on Reddit. So someone said it will all be photo ops, TV appearances, and vetted audience from here on out. The public's access to the president is going from slim to nil. His ego can't take that. He needs the crowds of cultists cheering his name. So that's a commenter from Reddit. Yeah, coupled with his health, he also has Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom has been on his head, really just with his own style of communication. But also here recently, I saw Gavin Newsom on, what was Gavin? I don't know what he was on, but he was in person being interviewed. And And it was very good. And he talked about why he's doing what he's doing, which it's still going to be spun however people want to spin it, misconstrued and all that, because of course, what I've noticed is that it appears to be okay for Donald Trump to do anything in the world, like anything that he can conceive of, anything that he wants to do, anything he can come up with, and somebody will justify it and make it okay. So hold on, let me see here. So yeah, the fact that Gavin Newsom is coming out and really talking about what he's doing and why he's doing it is good. It's great. I know it's really getting to Donald Trump. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's getting to his base. But I mean, I don't even know how anybody could be upset with the man for speaking someone's language. Like, how do you get mad at me because I know how to speak your language? That's crazy. Don't you want me to speak your language? Isn't the whole point of language to communicate? And we talk back and forth, so why not speak his language? Anyway, let's see. So that was Reddit. Where's another one? Okay, so another comment from Reddit says, in quote, he's going full Kim Jong. That's funny. I didn't expect that. He's going full Kim Jong dickhead. No, but his body double will. So that seems to be somebody who thinks that he may be out of here. Let's see. On other message boards, okay, so here's another one that says, there are posts on his social media platform, but signs of atypical and AI. Oh, here's somebody else is saying that. It says signs of atypical and AI writing in them, so uncertain whether he wrote them. If he's having a medical operation, he is obligated to hand power to the vice president. So that's somebody else that was on a message board saying that. And then let's see, media opinions. All right, commentators have pushed back on the rumors, calling out the social media frenzy as careless and dehumanizing. Really? Give me a freaking break. Are they serious? Oh my gosh. An opinion piece in the Daily Beast calls such speculation morbid, urging a shift toward more serious political discourse. That's ridiculous. But I mean, for what it's worth, I haven't been on Twitter. I have not really seen, like, I know it can get really bad. I haven't seen the carnage, so to speak. So I don't know how bad it is. I'm sure there's all kind of crazy jokes and everything going on. So I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know, for what's being done. I can't really say this right here. Where it says urging a shift toward more serious political discourse. Well, Fox News should be a more serious political discourse. There shouldn't be so much propaganda being ran. And if it's happening on both sides, it shouldn't be happening on either side. It should be a more serious political discourse. I don't see it happening on the Democratic side. And I do look at both sides so that I can get a real view of everything that's happening, and so that I can listen for myself and see how it's being reported on one side versus the other. And I see, I don't know, some joking around and things like that. But as far as pushing out a certain narrative and not giving like the full information, I see that on the Republican side and the MAGA side way more than I see it on the Democratic side. So yes, a more serious political discourse definitely needs to happen, and the way that I am looking at everything, it definitely needs to come from the top. You know, we have a president that has a media, especially Fox News, and especially a lot of the right wing podcasts that just don't give the full picture. I look at a lot of let's see, I look at three. I'm not going to say a lot. I look at three different debaters, and a lot of times the MAGA Republican side will come to the debate and not have any of the information that these debaters have that are, I would say, MAGA friendly, Republican friendly. They want to debate MAGA because they want to, they want to see, what are these arguments? And can you win the argument with the information that you have? And a lot of times they don't have all the information, and that's just the truth. And when they find out all of the information, oftentimes they're not willing to face the information, or they just don't care. They don't care what all the information is. They're just like, you know, whatever. We just support our side. We support our agenda, and we don't care what it's going to do to the country. We don't care who it's going to hurt. Uh, we don't care. It seems like people don't even care that their um, democratic, free way of life is being infringed upon in so many different ways. And when faced with a lot of these arguments, the at the base bottom of these people's minds is, I really don't care. I just want him to come in and steamroll over all the people that I don't like. And it it's just horrific. So yeah, I agree with whoever said that we need to have more serious, political discourse, but on both sides, not just when people think that Donald Trump is dead, and people are making all sorts of jokes, and yeah, let's not just say that when when things look kind of funny and you don't like the joke. Let's say that when it's the other way around as well. All right, let's see. All right, that's one. Okay, so another one. Okay, so this is kind of like a breakdown, and it says absence duration. Of course, it's just been 2 to 3 days. Like I said at the beginning of this and in the middle, I don't think this is a big deal in and of itself. You should not have to be on somebody's news camera every day in order for people to think like, oh, okay, all is well with the country. I see the president today. That's never been and I'm old. That's never been in the entire history of all of the presidents that I've seen come and go. And I don't think it should be right now. This is something he set up. And, basically it's his fault. He hid his medical condition until it couldn't be hid anymore. And, he didn't even do a good job of hiding it, which I feel like with you being as rich as you are and making all this money, all these different kind of ways, and he shouldn't even be doing it as president, but he's doing it anyway. Can I get you to at least hire somebody who can cover up well? And I don't agree with him covering up all of these problems, but he didn't even cover it up good. So of course it came out, And, people are saying there's all sorts of doctors all online saying what they speculate him to have, which I've heard, like, I don't know, maybe 3 doctors say they think it's congestive heart failure, which is extremely serious. Um, so yeah, people, this is what's going to be speculated when you don't look good, you hid your health condition, um, and you mess with people. You mess with people all the time. You're infringing upon people's freedoms. You sent people to um, pretty much torture prisons in other countries, just totally uncalled for things. Um, you've built detention centers to intentionally, treat people worse than just them going to regular jails and detention centers to be held to go back to their country if they're going to be deported for the whatever the right way is. Just intentionally trying to hurt people is dangerous, to all the people who participate. So, you can do that if you want to, but it's not going to end well for you. Eventually, someday, we never know what day that's going to be, and you don't know how it's going to play out, and you haven't lived all the days of your life, so you really don't know what's going to happen to you. But, I think that that's a dangerous game to play, just torturing people and taking things away from people that should not be taken away. So people can do that if they want to. People can endorse it if they want to, but eventually it's going to catch back up with you, and it's going to hurt you, and you're going to see what it is to feel that thing that you wanted so badly to inflict upon somebody else. So that's that on that. But anyway, he's been out of the public eye for 2 to 3 days. Let's see, health signals. So we know he had the bruising on his hands, swollen ankles, and they said that he was diagnosed with this CVI. But who can believe it? Who can believe it when you didn't say anything until the cameras caught your big ankles that you knew were big because you had to put your socks and shoes on? And I guess you were hoping nobody would just say anything about it, or, I don't know what he was thinking, but, there you have it. And I don't know where his wife is. And I keep saying his wife because it's like you have a wife that it would seem like would be, looking out for you and your best interests. Like, where is she? Let's see. White House response explained a minor irritation from handshakes or aspirin, maintaining he is in good health. Now, people have said, oh, he shakes so many hands. Like, who's shaking your hand on the top? Where is that happening at? Who's hand shaking your hand? And, to the magnet, I don't care if you do, grab and shake, but I mean, like, really? And then you're the president, so you're shaking that many hands. I don't know. That does not make sense to me. That doesn't make sense at all. And then I've heard a doctor say it doesn't really make sense for him to have had like an IV on the top of his hand, even though sometimes they do the IV on the top of the hand. But this one doctor said that does not really make sense because there's so many other places where you can get the vein to where you would not have to interrupt that area and cause that bruising. So yeah, I don't know. I'm certainly not a doctor, so I don't know what why he would have that on the top of his hand. Let's see. So social media trends, hashtags, like I said this before, like Trump is dead, trending, generating speculation and memes. I'm not going to go to Twitter, but, y'all go to Twitter and see what's going on over there. I'm sure it's crazy. Let's see. Online commentary, you got your mixture of dark humor, skepticism, concern, and criticism over tasteless rumors. if you're coming in, thanks for stopping by. I just saw this this morning, and I wanted to. I wanted to see what was going on with it, to see if it was any, where he someone might say that he actually is, but um, I don't think there's been any formal. Anyone has come out and said like, oh, the president is, it's holiday weekend, he's taking time off. I don't think any of that is being said. So we don't have anything formal, or as of like right now while I'm on here, if someone is on some news cycle saying something about where he is and what he's doing this weekend, I don't know about it because I'm on here. All right, let's see. Opinion pieces, calls to move conversation away from death jokes toward thoughtful political analysis. Okay, so people are trying to get off of that until they see, what's actually going on with him. And then just a little summary. Trump's recent absence has ignited speculation online. Some people genuinely worried, others joking sharply, and still more critique the wave of speculation itself. Visible health indicators, combined with no public schedule, have proved fertile ground for memes, rumors, and rumor control. Okay, so that's that on that. What do y'all think? Let me see. So I don't really let me see here. There are a lot. I don't know how far I want to go back up. All right, so it looks like, I don't know, maybe 50-50 Republican. Are people even Republicans anymore? Are y'all Republicans, or is everything just gone MAGA? I thought we were Republicans and Democrats. Or you vote Republican, or you vote Democratic, or you look at the issues and you decide according to policy that you want to see whether you're going to vote Republican on some things and Democrat on other things. Okay, let's see. William Wallace. Yeah, no, I don't think anything, but subscribe. I have a channel, so subscribe to the channel. And if you don't want to subscribe, then that's okay too. Let's see. The next comment, MAGA people have no brain genuinely. Republicans are just generally annoying, says Trump is pedo. Okay. Let's see. All things considered. Thank you, all things considered. Alex said, I'm an independent. I can think for myself. Good. Oh, William, you're such a lovely person, I see. Okay, let's see. Okay, well, let's see. While y'all are here, let's talk about this. What do y'all think about this? Do y'all think that Donald Trump is a Christian? Is Donald Trump a Christian? Who wants to answer that one for me? Because I saw something, I thought that, all of the prayer and all of the Christian values and everything, that he is, going away from the separation of church and state, obviously, which is another thing that he's doing in his presidency that is not what our democracy is about, which I'm all for. Whoever, wants to be whatever religion they want to be, I'm all for it, because that's why, that's what our country is supposed to be all about: freedom of religion, freedom of a lot of things. So, oh, looking at these comments. So I thought that he was a Christian, but twice now I've heard him say that he was trying to get to heaven. And so for me, that means that you're definitely not a Christian if you're still trying to get to heaven, because the reason why you are a Christian is because you're saved and you've accepted the faith. So if you're saved and you've accepted the faith, then you're a Christian. And it's no need to talk about heaven anymore unless you're talking to somebody else about where they are with their faith. Do they have a faith? Do they want to know about your faith? Then you share your faith. And then, this one of the things that you might talk about if you're talking to somebody about faith. But when you're a Christian, you don't ask that question. You don't talk about, I'm trying to get to heaven. You don't say, you don't use, which I saw him use in a fundraising letter. You don't use, I am trying to get to heaven, and then, say a whole long speech in the fundraising letter and then say, send me $15 so we can keep up the fight, whatever that is. And all because at the very top of the letter, which is the title, I'm trying to get to heaven. What is that all about? What in the world is that all about? Because, if he's essentially forcing Christian faith on people through, some things that the administration is doing to make reading the Bible in school mandatory, and I don't know, the whole pro-life situation that we have going on. Just so many things that are based on what people say are Christian tenets. And, all of these, like, he has spiritual advisors in his cabinet, like the whole nine. He went across the street in his former presidency and held the Bible up, whatever that was all about. Why, sir, are you talking about, I'm trying to get to heaven? What is going on? What is going on? I'm going to read y'all's comments. But what is going on with that? Why are you putting out a fundraising letter talking about, I'm trying to get to heaven? Why are you on interviews saying, I'm trying to get to heaven? They say I'm not doing too good. I need to save 7,000 people. I need to spare some lives in Ukraine, or whatever that was all about. What are you doing? What are you talking about? And how are you cramming a certain religion down people's throat, and you don't even belong to it? What is going on? All right, what do y'all have to say? I'm just going to jump in here somewhere because the comments are escaping me. Okay, Alex again says, Republicans cry every day about Biden. They still do. Okay. the deal he made with the devil. The red man is coming for the orange man. My God, Chaz, that's funny. Let's see. Religion and politics should be separated. And it is, according to the Constitution of the United States of America, it is separate. So yeah. Let's see. Kevin, may I please say, can you say the N word? No, and YouTube is going to capture that and suspend it. So it's going to be a no for me. Let's see. And I'm not a Biden supporter, but he was way more decent than what we have today. Okay. What religion are you? The question is, what religion is Donald Trump? What religion is Donald Trump? Like, how is this man going around telling the world he's trying to get to heaven? Sir, you have professed to be a Christian. And if he has not professed to be a Christian, like, super shame on all of those pastors that are up there laying hands on him, praying before they go out, all of this prayer, all of this, like I said, it's the shoving of the Christian values down the throats of the Americans for me. And it's not even you. You don't get to say, I'm trying to get to heaven when you're a Christian. The fact that you are a Christian and you know what that means and you know what you believe and you accept that faith, that already means that you have received, that you know where you're going to go after your spirit leaves your body. So you don't get to say, I'm trying to get to heaven when you're a Christian. And how dare you try to make other people do a Christian life when you're not even a Christian? What is that all about? Let's see. Richard said his religion is blasphemy. I would say corporate, but he sucks at that too. Let's see. Chaz says he praises himself. He doesn't deserve anything God has to offer. Okay. According to Chaz. Why dodge the question? You seem to be saying you know who is a Christian and who is not. How do you know? I know because he said that he's trying to get to heaven. That's how I know. Radium Rickshaw. He said it. I didn't say it. I know what it takes to be a Christian. I know what it takes to say that you have salvation. And he's I've heard him say, I was going to leave it alone. I did a live about it the other day. I was going to leave it. I didn't even have time to swing back to it. But then when I saw he went on his, I don't know, however he does it, to his supporters, and he wrote a letter to his supporters. And it's a fundraising letter, and he's asking y'all, whoever y'all are, and some of y'all might have received the letter, he's asking for $15. And at the top of the letter, the subject line says, I am trying to get to heaven. What on earth? I don't even see what the two have to do with each other. Why are you asking for $15 from your folks? And and what does that have to do with you trying to get to heaven? What, the two don't have anything to do with each other. That's one thing. But the main thing is, how dare you? How dare you talk about going to heaven when you are supposed to be a Christian, sir? And why are you trying to make the country Christian and you don't even believe in it? Because if you did, you wouldn't be saying you're trying to get to heaven. The main thing that makes you a Christian is that you already got that situated. You know you're going to heaven when you're a Christian. That's what you believe. It's not about me. It's about him. Let's see. So separation of church and state isn't in the Constitution. Look for it. It mentions God multiple times. No, sir. You need to go to somewhere where you like what they're talking about, I think. Yeah, don't call me a fool. I'll within the tenets of our country, we separate church and state. Now, if you just want to call me a fool, go ahead. I really don't care. I don't care. I don't give a damn what you think, actually. I don't care. But we separate church and state in this country. And you know it. Now, give me a good argument for why everybody needs to be a Christian and the president isn't. He's not a Christian if he's still trying to figure out how to go to heaven. Good point, Richard. Help the poor, feed the hungry, protect the weak, allow our neighbors to be with us, including foreigners. The Christian way of life is simply being decent to others. Thank you, Richard. I mean, the man fundamentally disagrees with the Pope. I don't even know a lot about Catholicism, but I know that it's a Christian faith. I mean, you got the Pope pretty much begging the presidency to be decent. What is that all about? And you're so Christian. All these people around you are praying and laying hands and all this type of stuff, pleading the blood of Jesus, and you don't even believe in the blood of Jesus. What is that all about? Why are people going for that? And who doesn't understand a grift when they see it? Like, how are you going to send me this fundraising letter? This is, and it didn't come to me. So I'm putting myself in the position of a supporter who would receive that letter. Let's just say you're a supporter of a very sincere Christian person, and you receive that letter, and he's asking you for $15. That's fine. Ask for $15. Ask for your supporters to support you. That's fine. But what are you talking about? I thought, look, if he's sending this to a Christian and they're already, they know what it is to be a Christian, and you don't, obviously, because if you did, you wouldn't say this. And at the very subject line, you're saying, I'm trying to get to heaven. That's an insult. It's insulting on the faith. It's an insult to the intelligence of the person getting the letter. You might as well just say, I'm using your Christian faith to raise money. And I don't believe it, because if I did, I wouldn't even be saying this. That's what you might as well say. Hi, Black Swan. No, I'm not really arguing with anybody in particular. Somebody said something about the separation of church and state, and I was just saying that in this country, we have separation of church and state. I'm not a fool, because I don't have I'm not like Chat GPT in my brain. I don't know where everything is located, but I know how to find it. I know how to find it. So I don't care, because of course, when people don't agree with you, and they don't know how to express themselves, of course, they're gonna, come out and say the worst things. Or, perhaps sometimes people are just looking for an opportunity to talk to somebody bad, because they're already prejudiced against that person anyway. So they're just looking for, an opportunity. And I just decided to talk about this subject today. So of course, people are gonna get their jollies off or whatever. That's fine. Like I said, people have to answer for what they do. I'm not all right, sorry about that. But yeah, yeah, this is just, it's just the subject, and I did want to talk about, I did want to bring that subject about why is this man, now 2 times I've heard him, so maybe he said it a lot more than this, but on 2 occasions that I know of, he's talked about trying to get to heaven. And it's just, it's just, it's something that I want to say to the Christian people who support him, because the Christian people that support him understand what I'm saying. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, then that's fine. I'm not, I'm not talking to the people that are not Christian that don't get this. It's really a question for the people that believe the faith, but yet you can listen to him say this to you, knowing that he doesn't believe it. And you potentially, I don't know, maybe some people aren't his supporters because they believe he's a good Christian man. I don't know. I thought that's what they believed. Why would you be supporting, why would you be a Christian and he's come, to implement all these Christian values and you don't believe he's a good Christian man? If you're just supporting somebody based upon the policies that they're presenting, then I guess, that's you, and those are the policies that you want, which we have a right to do that in this country. But if you're supporting him because he's this good Christian value man and he's made some mistakes, but now he's accepted the faith and all this, and now he's telling you he's trying to get to heaven, then that should let you know that he's conning you. That's all I'm saying. He's that's a con then. That part of what he's talking about, the whole Christian faith. And then the question is, why would you want someone who's trying to force Christian lifestyle upon everybody, which is something Jesus didn't even do. Jesus didn't even teach, and neither did his disciples. That's not the teaching, to force Christian way of life on people. That's not the way. So why would you want for somebody to basically do that to everybody when they don't even, now come to find out, he don't even believe what you believe. If you thought that he believed that, which, MAGA is interesting because they won't always admit to what they thought. When it changes, then they'll change. And I said this at the beginning of me coming on here. It seems that it's really nothing that he can do or nothing that he can say or any way that he can shape shift and change it to where they will say, something weird, this is not right. Forget about it's something about this that's not. No, this is not right. It's just not right. It doesn't line up with my own personal beliefs. It doesn't line up with my values. It doesn't line up with what I believe to be right in the world. It doesn't line up with my faith. What my God says I need to be doing, it doesn't line up. I'm not supporting it. But it seems like it's very hard for some of the MAGA Republican community to get there. So, for me, like, I'm just like, how does anybody think this is like, how do you justify this part of it? And I know that there's so many people that really just support him because of who y'all don't like and how you like to see him do it to people that you don't like. That's what it is. And that's the hill you're gonna die on, that's so to speak. So if that's what it is for you, then ride on out. But I've seen that twice, and I'm like, how How are people reconciling this? People that have faith and people that thought he had faith. How are y'all reconciling this? And that's what I wanted to know. Uh, let's see. Let me go to the bottom because I don't know what's been being said. Let's see. Jesus Riviera says, I'm a Trump supporter who is not religious. Okay, well, then you don't care that he is trying to implement all these Christian values, and neither one of y'all believe anything Christian. So, congratulations. Congratulations to y'all on that. Okay. Um, so I'm missing some of these conversations, so I'm just gonna jump in on. Let's see. What does faith have to do with running a government? Ask Donald Trump and his people. Ask him. You know, that's the person that you should ask because they are, you know, that's what they seem to be implementing on a lot of things, but then on a lot of things totally ignoring biblical the biblical way, like to welcome the immigrant and treat the immigrant as if they're, you know, one of your own and things like that. That stuff is in the Bible, you know. So some stuff that's getting you know, hammered in from the Bible, and some stuff that's being completely ignored. And that was one of the, you know, one of the topics of discussion with him and the popes, you know, the one that has passed on and the new one. Um, you know, the whole topic of immigration, and they don't care a flipping thing about what the Bible says about immigration, but you know, we are going to you know, we're going to hammer, you know, certain things that we want to hammer in, and we want to um, you know, make sensitive to the people. We want the people to really get riled up over this thing. Oh, we're going to hammer that thing in from the Bible. But what the Bible says about the immigrant, okay, we don't need that part. Let's forget that part exists. Let's see. A person who comes to our country illegally is not an immigrant, it's an invader. Radium Rickshaw. That's what Radium Rickshaw says. Where's his concept of a plan for health insurance? He said he had one 2 years ago. Yeah, his concept for health insurance is to take it away from. This is what I wonder. Like, when you're taking the Medicaid away from some of the people that are on it, most of the people that are on Medicaid are disabled. So, and they've been deemed disabled because of certain conditions that they have, and you know, so they can't work, and a lot of times they can't work at all. You know, where are all these part-time jobs, you know, because this 80-hour a month work requirement that's, you know, they're talking about. Where are these part-time jobs? I don't even know of all these part-time jobs that a disabled person could even probably do. Let me tell you something about disability. My mother had lung cancer. At some point of her having lung cancer, she had to go on to disability to get any money. She could no longer go to her job and work. So, because she couldn't go to her job and work, then she couldn't have she had a job, but she no longer had that medical insurance because she's no longer working her job. She's got lung cancer and she can't go to work. So I don't even, I'm imagining that she had to get Medicaid. I mean, this was a long time ago. But if she didn't have her health insurance anymore, now, okay, let me rethink this um because maybe, quite possibly, she just rolled onto my father's insurance. However, um I don't know if she could have been on his insurance, like, to get on with lung cancer. I don't know if that's a thing, like, if you can, roll over to some, your husband, your spouse's insurance plan when you already have lung cancer. I don't know. So let's just say she couldn't get onto my father's insurance. She had to get on Medicaid. So what, at this point in time, if she was living now, she's gone. She's not here anymore. But if she was living now, if she were to need to get on Medicaid, because you can't just get on your spouse's insurance now and they're going to, you know, have to start paying for all of this expensive chemotherapy and whatnot. So if she couldn't do that, and then, Medicaid is an option for the disabled. So now she's going to what? Be required to work 80 hours when she can't work at all, and or else not get the Medicaid. So then just what? Die? Just go somewhere and die because you don't have insurance. You're going to suffer and you're going to die because you can't work 80 hours, and we're not willing to give you Medicaid unless you can work 80 hours. And you can't work at your job because you can't work. You've been put on disability and you can't work. So what? Like, help me. If that makes y'all feel good to say I'm a fool, whatever. The Bible says you shouldn't call anybody a fool. So, okay. Pierre Powers, if your mother is living now, she would get Medicaid. Yeah. She's not. My mother passed in years and years ago. But that was the situation when she was living. She was working. And she had her own insurance, and she had to stop working. And the way it is now, I mean, like, instead of just, calling me names, tell me what, like, how is this going to work? How, anybody on here, it's 281 people on here. Anybody on here can, your next doctor visit, they could say something devastating, right? So, and, anybody could need, and not just, there's a lot of things. There's cancer, there's multiple sclerosis, ALS, dementia, Alzheimer's. There's all sorts of things that can befall a person and make you not able to work at freaking all. So we're going to tell everybody that unless you can go somewhere and first find this 80-hour a month job, this part-time job, and then you can get which one is it? Medicaid. Medicare is for the older, is for the elderly. But yeah, I just, somebody tell me how it's gonna work. And if you don't know how it's gonna work, don't call me crazy. Maybe you should go look into it. Let me see. Oh, that's very that's the answer, Matthew. Don't go to the doctor and you won't get any diseases. That sounds like something Donald Trump would say, honestly. He said in his former presidency, stop doing the COVID tests. Like, stop testing. Like, we have these high numbers because y'all keep doing this freaking testing. We wouldn't have these high numbers if it wasn't for this testing. My goodness. Oh gosh. Let me see. Yes, it does. Whoever gone is, if you're still here and you're not gone, the Bible does mention the immigrant, okay? The immigrant. So you can do a quick AI search for that. You can go to your Bible app that you probably have on your phone, and you can just search the immigrant and you'll find him in there. Him and them. Um, and be careful, something might happen here to where you would actually want to leave, and then you might find yourself being an immigrant in somebody else's country. Be careful. Be real careful. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to go. I got more things to do today than this. I just wanted to touch on this subject about Donald Trump being missing. I'm going to get off of here and see if he's popped out. See, has he popped out on y'all and made an appearance and said, something. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that subject, and then consequently, I wanted to talk about the whole going to heaven thing. I didn't really see anybody. Hey, Nesto, Shackle, Shuffle, Walk of Shame. I didn't limit it very much. I just let it roll. So that's who the visitors are. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that, and I hope to get, somebody to answer, but it seems like when people don't have a good answer for something, then they just, result to insults. I've been insulted on here a bunch today, and I either can come up with the answer. If I can't come up with the answer now, I could come up with any answer I want because I have an iPad right here and I could just look it up. If I haven't looked it up, it's because I don't want to. And I have, I need to get off of here and get on with my next thing that I have to do today. But I can look and find any answer that I want. So I might not, of course, have all of the information of all of the subjects that there ever were loaded into my brain right now. But guess what? I know you don't either. So, y'all could really miss me with those insults, because whatever they are, if I turn a subject on you and you don't know how to spit the answer out right then that'll be you as well. You would be the one that would be foolish, and you would be the one that would be ignorant, and you would be the one who doesn't know what you're talking about. I haven't really come on here and professed to be the know-it-all of any of these subjects. I've asked you all, where is Donald Trump? And I've told you all, I don't think he should have ever made it to where people expect to see him every day. And I've also told you all that this one thing I do know: you're not a Christian if you are still talking about trying to get to heaven, because that is the direct opposite of what it means to be a Christian. If you've already accepted Jesus Christ as your Savior, then that means you are a Christ believer and you have accepted the faith. You're no longer trying to get to heaven. Now, I do know that. I know that. So I'm just asking y'all, why is he still trying to get to heaven when he's supposed to be a Christian? He's got all these Christian people doing all this Christian stuff. So many of these Christian denominations think that he's like the right before the second coming. Like, what is this all about? When this man is sitting here talking about in fundraising letters and on public interviews, hey, I'm trying to get to heaven. What is that is wrong. That is opposite world. And you can be mad at it and not like it, but be mad at him and don't like him because he's the one that has represented himself to be something that now he's telling you he's not. And that's all I'm saying. So anyway, y'all, I am getting ready to go. I do thank you for coming on and giving me this engagement. I appreciate it. And I do want to, I like the debate channels. I like the Handsome Liberal. I like Parker Get a Job. I like Dean Withers. I think his just his name. I don't think he has like a different handle. I like those debate channels. And mostly the free speech. If it can be said on YouTube without getting me or my channel in trouble, then, I want, because I like having free speech. I don't like the fact that Donald Trump is infringing upon our constitutional rights and shutting down so many things that this is the country that we now have, a free country. I like having it. I like extending it. And to the extent that I can, I will when I do topics like this. But, if YouTube doesn't say it's okay, which I have seen several comments get taken in for review, then, then that's obviously something that YouTube does not like to see on the platform. You know, obviously, nobody wants to be called ugly names, but if that's the level of your intellect and that's all you can come up with, then, I hope that you can, grow and do better at some point. But anyway, thank y'all for coming in, and I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.